Today we are talking about dual lasers or two-in-one lasers, just like these behind me right here. What are they? What can they do? What can you make? And should you invest in a machine like this? Hey there, I'm Sarah. You're watching Creative Ramblings. We talk a lot about lasers on this channel, so if you are a laser user or you're looking at getting into the world of laser crafts, definitely subscribe. I know you'll find something here that will be helpful. Today we are talking about dual lasers. Lasers just like these behind me. They have two modules in one. There are a lot of these on the market, and recently we've seen a bunch of new ones. But I thought I'd take this opportunity to kind of go through what these machines are, what they do, what kind of projects you can make, and whether or not it's a good idea to invest in one. So a few things to get out of the way first. There are a lot of these on the market. The brands that I'm going to be talking about as we get kind of to the end of the video are brands that I'm familiar with. I may not own the specific machine, but I am very familiar with the brand and I'm comfortable recommending it. There are some a little more obscure brands out there that make dual lasers that I'm just not familiar with and therefore not comfortable recommending them to you. Before we dive into dual lasers, let me know down in the comments, are you a laser owner? What machine do you have? And if you don't have one yet, what are you hoping to get? So let's start at the very beginning. What is a dual laser? I am using that term to describe a laser that has two modules in one, kind of in one space. They tend to be a little more small and compact, very lightweight and portable. Most dual lasers are galvo-style lasers. What that means is that up in here is the laser module. You put your piece of wood or metal or whatever you're engraving right here on the bottom. And the laser head stays in one space, and using mirrors, the laser goes back and forth like this. So that setup, that galvo setup, allows for really, really fast speeds. You can go anywhere from 4,000 millimeters per second to 15,000 millimeters per second, depending on which style and which laser you have. Galvo lasers are fast and they're compact. Just a quick comparison, let me show you what a gantry style laser is. That's this one over here. This is the X-Tool S1. It is a diode laser and it's a gantry laser. So what that means is you have an X and Y axis and your actual laser module, this one right here, moves back and forth and up and down. So you have a really big bed, you can put a big piece of material here and the laser moves over it. Now this is not a dual laser, it's just one 40-watt laser head. However, a laser like this can interchange for like an IR module. So it's interchangeable, but it's not all in one. All dual lasers have two lasers in one. And the types of lasers that you see are pretty typical. So almost every dual laser contains a diode. So a diode is a pretty standard home laser that we see a lot of. It's great for cutting wood, leather, some acrylic. It can cut all kinds of paper and cardboard. It can engrave things like stone, wood, acrylic, glass with a coating. It can do a lot. There's just hundreds of materials it can work with. So on these dual lasers, you're going to find a diode anywhere from 10 to 40 watts. The wattage of the diode laser is going to dictate how powerful it is, so how deep or thick of a piece of material it can cut, and how fast it can cut. Cutting on a galvo-style laser is a little limited. This one right here is the F1 Ultra. So the first laser in this is a 20-watt diode. So I can cut a pretty thick piece of wood with that, but my working area is a little smaller than that gantry-style laser we looked at earlier. So yes, I can cut. The other thing to keep in mind with a galvo laser when you're cutting is that the laser head doesn't move back and forth like a gantry. It stays in one place and the beam goes back and forth. So there is always going to be a slight angle to anything you cut in a galvo laser. So if I put a big piece of wood here and I cut as large as I can, I'm going to get a bit of a slant. That's not a huge deal, but just keep that in mind if you intend on using a dual laser, the diode portion, for cutting. The second module that we often see in a dual laser is an IR module, or an infrared module. So we Create Lumos and the LaserPecker LP4 both have an IR module. The Lumos is a 3 watt and the LP4 is a 2 watt. The IR modules are not for cutting at all. They are for engraving only, and they work really, really well on all kinds of metals and plastics. The next type of laser you might see is a fiber laser. So right here in the Xtool F1 Ultra and the LaserPecker LP5, you're going to find a 20 watt fiber laser. This is along the same wavelength as an IR module, but much more powerful. So we are able to deeply engrave metals. With this F1 Ultra here, with that 20 watt fiber, I can engrave like challenge coins. I can engrave like a slate coaster and get just a carving out of it that is absolutely beautiful. You can also dial back that power and do engravings on the 20 watt fiber just like you can with the 3 watt IR. It just goes a lot faster because it's more powerful. A fiber laser can also cut metal. At 20 watts, it's going to be incredibly thin metal, like a brass or something that is a little bit softer and thin, but you can absolutely cut metal with a fiber laser. The fourth laser that we can see in a dual laser is a MOPA. A MOPA is a type of fiber laser, and right now there are 2 that are out there that have a MOPA in them. One of them is the new version of this F1 here. It is called the F2 Ultra, just released in July of 25, so there'll be more information coming on that. But this has a 60 watt MOPA. Now a MOPA does everything that a fiber laser can do. So same material, same wavelength. However, you have more control with that type of laser. So you're able to do finer, more crisp engraving. You're also able to engrave in really rich colors. So a MOPA opens up a lot more possibilities. For example, the F2 Ultra is a 60 watt MOPA paired with a 40 watt diode. So when you go from a 20 watt fiber that can carve out kind of a metal challenge coin to a 60 watt MOPA, you can carve out that challenge coin just like you can with fiber, but do it so much faster, like hours faster. You can also cut metal with a MOPA laser, similar to the fiber laser, but since it's more powerful, you're going to be able to cut stuff that's a little bit thicker. Those are the modules that we tend to see inside dual lasers. Almost always a diode paired with an IR module, a fiber module, or a MOPA. So now let's ask the question, why would you want one of these? What are the benefits of having one of these dual machines? These dual lasers are ideal for engraving. When you put a diode paired with something else, you can engrave just about anything. So if I had just a diode laser, like this one over here, this 40 watt diode laser, I can't engrave plastic, I can't engrave gold, I can't carve anything. But when I pair a diode with an IR module, like here on the Lumos, I open up this huge, huge variety of materials. The second thing I really like about dual lasers is their size and portability. So these two over here, the LP4, very portable. This thing is not that heavy. Same with the We Create Lumos here and the Xtool F1, which is the smaller original version in this F series. They're all really portable, which means you can take them with you. So if you are doing craft markets and you want to engrave or personalize jewelry on the spot, pack one of these up and take it with you. Completely portable. They are fully enclosed, so you can put your piece of jewelry here. Even on this one here, this whole thing can lower down, so it is enclosed because you want to protect your customers and yourself. There is exhaust out the back, so you can ventilate to a portable purifier. The ability to take a laser to a craft market is a really big plus. Some of the larger ones, the F1 Ultra, this is a heavy laser. I would not call this portable. Same with the F2 Ultra, they're not portable. However, you could absolutely set this up in a shop, something that is kind of in a permanent shop where customers are coming and going. Still fully enclosed. It's got a good fan, great ventilation if you hook it up to something like the AP2, so you can use this around customers. Dual lasers can also be very cost effective. So if you really want the capabilities of a fiber laser, but you also kind of want a diode to maybe cut some wood and do some other things, when you buy them together, there is a cost savings there. So I hope I gave you a good overview of what dual lasers are and what they can do. I want to talk through a couple specific machines with you because they're all a little different. So the machines that I'm talking about, I mentioned this at the beginning, they're from brands that I am very comfortable recommending. I have lots of experience with. These machines work, they have good customer service, and you're going to be happy with your purchase when you buy from one of these brands. So the first one I want to talk about is this series right here. This is an X-Tool laser, and it is in the F series. All of their lasers have a letter. So that gantry over there we looked at, that is an S. That is the S1. So the F series, the first laser we saw from them was the original F1. It is smaller than this, really, really compact and light. It is under 10 pounds. This is a 10-watt diode and a 2-watt IR module. This little F1 is ideal for engraving and personalizing on the go. So take this to your local farmer's market where you're selling personalized jewelry, or to a craft market, and you can customize fast on the go. Galvo style laser, like all of these are, it is a bi-directional laser, and that is a really important thing to keep in mind. So Galvo lasers, again, they go back and forth like this. The F1, it engraves this way, and it goes back and forth. There are some lasers that are only unidirectional, so it'll engrave one way, the laser will move back, and it'll engrave the same way again. Bidirectional is faster, unidirectional just takes a little bit longer. The F1 is really easy, again, if you're at a craft market, to vent it into a purifier and then out into the air, really protecting yourself and your customers. The second one in the F series by X-Tool is this F1 Ultra. Not portable. Again, this is heavy. I moved it over here for this video. It's heavy. 20-watt diode, 20-watt fiber. A little bit larger of a working area than the original F1. Lots of accessories for this one. So this actually has a really big conveyor and a rotary attachment for it. So you can make a lot of stuff really, really fast with this machine. That fiber allows you to carve deeply and cut thin metal. The F1 Ultra also has a camera for positioning. I don't think I mentioned that on the F1. There is no camera on the F1. There's a marking system. Camera on this one, making it really easy to see where you're positioning everything. Brand new to the X-Tool world as of July 2025 is the F2 Ultra. It is this machine, but bigger. It is a 40-watt diode and a 60-watt MOPA. So that MOPA laser is the fiber laser, but better. It is going to get finer, crisper engraving. It is more powerful, which means it's faster, and you can engrave in color. Like, the effects you can do with a MOPA laser are really, really incredible. A lot of the same features as the F1 Ultra, they've just really improved on it. So there's now 2 cameras for better positioning. Again, not portable, but you can use it in your shop to personalize things, or kind of a standalone shop. You can also cut metal with that MOPA too, which you can do very fine metal on the F1 Ultra, but the F2 Ultra is going to allow even more possibilities. So let's move on to this laser right here. This is the We Create Lumos. This is brand new. It came out in June of 2025. This is a 10-watt diode and a 3-watt IR. The standard IR module that we see across most lasers, whether it's a gantry like this or a Galvo, is 2-watt. So this 3-watt allows us to get a little bit finer engraving, more precise and faster. This machine is set up nicely, very similar to the F1. We have our working area here, but this laser is also doubles as a handheld laser. So I can twist this little lever right here, and I can pull the whole laser module out, and this becomes a portable engraver. There's a magnetic cone that comes with it, pops on here. You could take this whole thing and put it against like a metal door and put it on there and engrave. So this portability is pretty cool. We don't see that in something big like the F1 Ultra. The original F1 does have some portability. It's not quite as easy as this one. The Lumos does have a camera built in for easy positioning. It works with their Make It software, and it does have some accessories. So there is a rotary and a conveyor that go with it, just allowing you to batch things and open up the amount of materials that you can work with. The Lumos is a unidirectional engraving laser. So I mentioned that the F series are bidirectional. All that means is it just moves a little bit slower, but the results are still really great. This is the LP4 by Laserpecker, and it is very similar to the F1. It is a 10-watt diode, a 2-watt IR. It does have some portability to it. There's a little more you have to do to take this off. And again, you could hold it up against a door or something like that to engrave. No camera on this one, but it is bi-directional, so back and forth. Really good speeds on this one with great results. You do also have a couple of accessories for the LP4, including a slide extension to do longer projects and a rotary. Laserpecker makes a lot of small lasers, so they have like an LP1, 2, is there a 3? There's probably a 3, 4, and 5. The 5 is a little bit more like this one here. It has a fiber laser on it, but I am most familiar with their LP4. Great little portable dual laser. So once again, this is not an all-inclusive list, but these are some brands that I work with, I use often, and I can confidently recommend to you. Hopefully there was enough information in this video that if you see a dual laser out there from another brand, you know what to look for. So let's talk about recommendations. And the number one question you should always ask yourself before you buy a laser or any large piece of machinery is, what do you want to make? What do you want to do with it? These are all phenomenal machines. None of them are great for cutting. They have the power to cut. This is a 20-watt diode laser. You can cut a lot of stuff with that. But because it's a galvo-style laser, you have a small working area, and everything you cut is going to have a slight angle to it. I mean, very slight, but it's there. If you are looking at cutting large pieces of items or just cutting a lot, look at a gantry style laser. I have a ton of reviews on this channel for this, the S1, and all kinds of other gantry lasers. Those are ideal for cutting. What dual lasers excel in is engraving. So the combination of a diode laser and either an IR fiber or MOPA give you the ability to engrave just about anything. So if you make and sell jewelry, think about putting initials or a zodiac sign or anything you want on that jewelry with one of these lasers. You can do metal, ceramic, stone, wood, acrylic, plastics. There just are a ton of options. So if you know you want to engrave and you want really precise, deep carving engraving, look at the F1 Ultra or the F2 Ultra. If you want to engrave items on the go, like at a craft fair or a market, and you want to personalize all kinds of things, look at something like the We Create Lumos or the Xtool F1, the original one. We did an overview on what a dual laser is, what can it do, and why you might want to invest in one. If you have more questions on dual lasers, please drop them in the comments. I am going to link in the description the different videos I have on these lasers. There are new ones coming out, so as I get my hands on them, those videos will be published on this channel. The best way to stay up to date is to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss my next video. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.